So, if you've been following this series that we have been doing over the past couple weeks, you know that we have been peeling back the layers that most manifesting spaces never touch. So, we started with a fundamental truth that you've never been self sabotaging, you've been self protecting. Your nervous system has been trying to keep you alive and safe, it hasn't been trying to keep you small. Then we talked about how your mind cannot create from stress. So, how survival mode shuts down the exact parts of your brain that help you to imagine, to receive, to expand, to create. And then last week, I walked you into joy. And not the fake smile, toxic positivity kind, but the real human belly laughing joy that literally resets your brain and brings that magnetism back online. So today feels like a natural next step because understanding those things is one thing, but actually training your mindset in the middle of stress or chaos, doubt, or just an ordinary Tuesday is the part that nobody really gets into, right? We always want to know, but how? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to show you how your mind builds pathways, how to catch yourself in the moment, how to bring yourself back down to calm, and how to use that calm to shift into the version of you who already has her desires. This episode is where those things start to click, where we bring them all together. Okay, great, Shannon. I know I'm not sabotaging and I'm protecting, but I can't get my brain to see it that way. Or life is stressful and I understand calm and these grounding methods, but where do I step into them? Okay, Shannon, I want more joy and happiness to bring more joy and happiness into my life because what we experience, we create more of because we build those pathways. But how? That's what I hear all the time is how the hell do I do this? And so that's what we're going to talk about today because this is where our mind is going to become our partner in manifestation and not something that you're wrestling with or trying to figure out. So let's talk about what's going to relieve a lot of pressure and that it's your mindset is not going to change because you think harder. A lot of times, right, we think if I just think the happy thing, if I think the desire, if I think the affirmation, if I just do it more, okay, my mindset's going to change, but that's not it. So great, we can relieve that pressure valve right here because that's a lot to keep up with, okay? Trying to constantly monitor your thoughts. And then you stop living in the present moment. You stop enjoying life. You don't have that joy because you're playing monitor to your brain all the time, and that can wear you out. Your brain is going to build those new pathways, what you need through repetition. So every time you think a thought, your brain leaves a little groove. It's like walking through grass, right? You think it, the path gets deeper. You think it, the path, now the path is going to become the default, but not thinking the thoughts in the way of, oh, I'm just going to think harder, because you may actually be building a path of resistance in that. It's letting it happen. And we're going to talk about how we let this happen so that the grooves are the grooves that we want, right? We're walking the path that we want. But that's really just how the brain does it, right? When we embody something, we leave a little groove in our brain. And that's why your old patterns feel automatic. That's why we do things and we don't even realize what we're doing. A lot of times we don't have that awareness. So your brain is not out to get you. It's just following the paths that are already there. That's what it's doing. It's going the easy route. Your subconscious is just going the easy route of what's already there. But you can build new paths. And I always want to say about the neuroplasticity that our brain has, because our brain has the ability to change, and it is in that change where we create a new reality. Your brain is malleable. You can build those new pathways. You can rewire it entirely. You can learn safety in places you've never experienced it before. And it doesn't matter if life is messy, and it doesn't matter if life is loud or heavy when you start, because that's really where the rewiring begins. A lot of times we think, okay, I'm going to rewire my brain. I'm going to really focus on manifestation when I get all this other stuff together. You're not going to get the other stuff together because all that other stuff you're trying to get together is functioning on those old pathways. And so you trying to force it and fix it so that you can then dive into your manifestation practices isn't where it happens. The chaos stops when the rewiring happens. And within the chaos, within the stress of life, you need to allow yourself an awareness piece to show and reveal the biggest patterns. And that gives you a path forward, right? It gives you a new turn, a new fork in the road. And I want to be super clear that the goal really isn't to erase everything you've been taught. not every pathway in your brain needs to be changed. Not everything that's going on is something that you want to let go of. It's just whatever's getting in the way of your desire, your current desire, your evolution. It's an evolution. Your desires evolve. Though I wanted this thing, now I want the next thing, but my mind is trained on what I have now, so I have to retrain it to the next thing. And this can be as simple as, when I was younger, I wanted a sports car, whatever. I don't know. I'm not into cars like that, but if you are, or this is just the only example I could think. I wanted a sports car. That was my desire. I had, I was going to race down the highway in a sports car. It was going to be so much fun. Now I have a family and I want a family car. My desires changed. But do you know that, vans or big SUVs, they can cost as much or more as that little sports car you had going down the highway. And now I have to switch the pathway to say, no, I can afford that, right? Like I can afford that bigger expense and more gas and the higher insurance or whatever it is. Like I need to change my pathways to that as possible, that I can have abundance and have that too. And like I said, that's just like the most basic ass example I can think of, but this can go for any desire in your life, whether that's your relationships, your career, your money in general. Like it doesn't mean it's bad where you are. It just means you're evolving to where you're going. And it also doesn't mean you have to change everything. Like you're like, my relationships kick fucking ass. I don't want that to change. I just want the money stuff to change. So one doesn't have to so we're not erasing everything that we've ever been taught, is basically the point I'm trying to make here. And I think a lot of times we get into this mindset, like the new version of me, the best version of me. We think everything in life has to change and everything has to be different. It doesn't. Desires can be small, big, a little slice here, a little bit there, to cultivate the whole life that you want. And I think that's where a lot of pressure comes from, is we think we have to do these humongous changes, right? Like these complete changes and become a completely different person. It's just following your desire, whatever that is. If you want to be a completely different person, do you, boo? Like, do it. But if you're just adjusting, you're just changing those pathways. And I think that just takes the pressure off, right? We're releasing this pressure valve of having to think harder, having to completely remake ourselves, all of that stuff. And that brings me right into awareness, because that's really what shifts everything. Before you can change any pattern, you have to see it. And awareness isn't like some cute little step. Oh, I'm self-aware. It's really the moment your power comes back online. That's what it is. Awareness is you catching yourself mid-complaint and thinking, oh, hold on, this isn't actually about the situation. This is like an old story that's being triggered. Awareness is noticing the tightness in your chest when money comes up and realizing, oh, my body still thinks like this is unsafe, but that's not true. That's conditioning. Awareness could be seeing yourself spiraling into doubt and whispering like, okay, I know this feeling, but I don't have to follow it. Awareness doesn't require you to change that pattern immediately. You're not doing anything but becoming aware. You're just seeing it. The changing part is going to come later. Awareness just separates you from the autopilot reaction. I tell this story, but I remember when I would speak to myself, and one of my desires was to have better self-talk and to love myself more and to improve my worth. And I would notice that if I would do small things like stub my toe, things that people do, like we just do them. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I'd be like, oh my gosh, Shannon, you're so dumb. How did you not see the baseboard right there? Like I would talk to myself that way. And one of the first things was just awareness, just stopping the pattern, like stubbing my toe and being like, oh, I stubbed my toe. Like I had to stop the pattern of saying something negative for simple stuff that happens that, okay, it's not great. Nobody wants to stub their toe, but it didn't mean I had to talk down on myself because I did something that just happens in life sometimes. And so that was the awareness piece. And it just really dawned on me that I was calling myself an idiot, but I'm sitting over here 3 degrees deep, but I'm an idiot because I stubbed my toe. Like make that make sense. But it was bringing the awareness because I really wasn't aware of it. Then when I became aware, I noticed it all the time, which is a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing. Awareness is a good thing. It's like seriously seeing what's happening in your subconscious and being consciously aware of it for the first time so that you can then shift it, because you can't shift what you don't know. It's not a correction. Awareness is not a correction. It is truly the interruption that you need. So if you're going down a road and you have this path that's all well worn, oh, y'all know the fork in the road poem. Are you going to take the path less traveled? Well, that's exactly what we're trying to do when we're manifesting. We're trying to take the path less traveled, but we have to interrupt our walking when we get to that fork. We have to interrupt it so we can go the other way. And that's what the awareness is that interruption so that you notice you're at a fork in the road and that there is a place to go on a path that's not quite worn yet, but it's where you want to go. It's going to take you where you want to go. So once you've interrupted the pattern, the next step's not to fix it or to think positive or to get aligned. The next step is the calm that we've been talking about. Even if it's just a little bit calmer than before, because your brain cannot learn something new. Y'all, we've talked about this. Your brain can't learn something new. It can't do something new. I keep saying learn, but that's what your brain's doing. It's learning new pathways. But if do makes more sense to you, your brain can't do anything new. It can't create anything new. However, the vocabulary works for you so that you can understand why calm is so important. Like, I want you to understand that so deeply because it can't do anything new if it feels threatened or unsafe or scared. So if you try to force this new mindset into your little stressed out body, because we all get it, it's going to backfire. Your nervous system's going to clamp down harder and your old pathway is actually going to get stronger. Your mind's going to go, sweetheart, no ma'am, that is not safe. And that is why grounding matters. So now we see the interruption, we have the awareness, and those grounding patterns that we talked about 2 episodes ago. This is where you infuse it. Now I'm aware, let's infuse it. Maybe you stretch or you breathe or you just place your hand on your heart. You sit down for 2 minutes, just carving out some time to calm down. And you're not calming down to be spiritual. You're calming down because your brain physically needs that before it can build new pathways. Calm isn't the goal. Okay, calm isn't the goal, it's the doorway. So now I have my awareness. I can see the pattern. Now I have my calm. Now, here comes the how do I do it, Shannon? How do I train my mindset? Now you do it. This is where the shift happens. This is where the magic begins. When you bring yourself into calm, not perfection, no, not like, oh, bliss, not that toxic positivity stuff. You just bring yourself into calm when you're grounded. Now your brain's open. It's teachable again. It's reachable again. And that is the moment your subconscious is going to listen. That is the moment when those new pathways can form. So here's how you do it. Now that you're here, you refocus gently on your desire, not with pressure, not with like, oh, desperation, I have to manifest this now energy, right? Because that means you're not in calm. If you ever feel a twinge of desperation, you're not in calm. Just stop. Just stop because you're not going to do anything anyway. And that's just the realness of it. If you're feeling desperate, oh my God, I need $1,000 now. I just got an unexpected bill. Okay, take a breath. Okay, now manifest. It's not going to work. You're still in that desperation mode. I always say it's better to do nothing than to do something that's not going to work or that's going to reinforce an old pathway. And that may not be what you want to hear because you may want to hear, I need to know how to get that $1,000 fast for this bill. I don't want to lead you into a path that's just going to take you to the same place you're trying to escape from. Like, I care too much about you to do that. So like, this is mama energy me now, I guess. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear all the time. But if that is where you are, then just don't. The best thing to do is nothing at all. And that's okay. But if you are able to get into the calm, if you are in a place where you're grounded, now you step into it. And you just remind yourself, not with pressure, once again, not with pressure, but this is what I'm growing toward. And you let the desire feel like an invitation instead of the demand. So if I'm in that desperation, I got to have it now, I need to go find my calm again. And then I need to make it an invitation and not a demand. Then you can introduce the new thoughts, tiny ones. You know, they always say Rome wasn't built in a day. Hello, tiny thought. I talked about this at the Harvest Your Desire event. You stretch, you don't snap. So you can't go from like, I'll never get there to I'm a millionaire because your brain's not going to buy it. It's not. Now, I will tell you this because I do want to encourage you. Like, I don't want you to be like, damn, Shannon, this is so super hard. Is it even worth it? This is what I'm going to tell you. Especially in the beginning, you're not going to go from like, yeah, I told you I lived below paycheck to paycheck, then paycheck to paycheck, then a little bit. Okay, I stretched myself. But with manifestation in general, when you get into doing this because you make this a habit, it becomes easier. Just like with anything else, it becomes easier. Like when you first learned how to put on eyeliner, it was probably all over the place, but the more you did it, more muscle memory, it becomes easier. This whole process becomes easier. So you start to manifest faster and faster. If you go through and practice the process, it becomes more second nature. This stuff to me that I'm telling you right now is second nature to me. I'm able to find the awareness, pick up on the resistance, like the underlying belief, go through all the things that we do in the Manifest You method within a matter of minutes, and then get to the embodying to bring it in. Okay. You build muscle memory into the method. But when you're in this place, you don't just jump. Eventually, it gets easier to jump bigger, like further. So find where you are at. If where you are right now is like, I'm never going to get there and then you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow, like be honest with yourself. Is this where you are? Are you snapping yourself or should you just stretch? The stretch would be something reachable, but also still beyond you, beyond where you are currently. I'm open to this. I'm learning how to hold this. This is becoming easier for me. I'm safe to believe in this a little bit more today. Those are the thoughts that build real pathways. And then you feel the emotion that matches your desire. Like we're not just thinking. That's why I'm like, no, it's not just think, 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 think. Now I have to feel the emotion. Not a perfect emotion, just one step closer. Hope, softness, possibility, relief, curiosity. Emotion is the glue that holds together your new pathways. It like presses them down in there, y'all. Don't forget to bring the emotion into it. And then take one tiny aligned action, one, not 20. Because when you pair small action with that small emotional shift, the brain goes, oh my gosh, we're doing this. This is safe. This is okay. And that's the embodiment piece. That is the step where your desires become a part of the identity instead of the fantasy. Training your mindset is not about forcing alignment. It's about showing your brain what alignment feels like over and over until the pathway becomes the new default. Now, I want to add two things before we wrap up that most women skip, even though they make the biggest difference in this whole process. If you want your mind to support your desires, you have to practice being the version of you who already has it. And I'm not talking about fake it till you make it, but in a get familiar with who you're becoming. And that is the identity rehearsal. That is the what would she believe? What would she say? What would she say no to? What would she say yes to? What would she accept? What would she expect? And that's the deeper training. That is the identity shift. And then I want to talk about collecting evidence, because a lot of times we'll say, we'll collect evidence. And if you're trying to manifest more money and you don't see more money, then you're like, well, where's the evidence? I don't see the evidence. But you have to collect the evidence so your brain starts to go towards what you want, even tiny moments, because your brain loves proof. So you have to give it proof. And that can be the small shifts that we talked about today. A calmer reaction, a better thought, a moment of joy. Maybe it's a quick win because you did find a $20 bill below and through the parking lot. A message that feels aligned, a sign that made you smile. Those are still proof that of your manifestations. It's not just the thing itself, it's the whole process. Like I said, the reaction, the thought, the joy. When I was trying to manifest my upfront parking spaces, they weren't always there at first. And of course, when they were, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, see, I always get the parking space, right? But even when they weren't, I was still noticing that I was thinking different. I do deserve to park close to the store because I didn't think I deserved to park close to the store. That's a whole nother story. But even those things were evidence of me thinking differently. And those are the breadcrumbs, once again, that are going to strengthen your new pathway. Training your mindset is not about perfection. It is about consistency with compassion. So I want to do this together. Let's just do this together. Let's do some real-time rewiring. Why not? I want you to close your eyes for a moment, just a moment. Take a slow breath in. Okay, don't close your eyes if you're driving, listening to this, but if you're not, if you are, come back to this later. And if you're not, let's do this. Close the eyes. Just block out all of the external stimuli. Take a slow breath in and then gently exhale. I want you to place your hand on your heart. I want you to have that physical sensation. And then I want you to softly whisper to yourself, I'm teaching my mind how to support my highest desires. I want you to take another breath. Breathe it out. I'm safe enough to grow. Another one in and out. Every day I'm building new pathways that serve the woman I'm becoming. Now think of one desire, just one, and ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today that trains my mind, my body, and my energy towards this? And let that answer be simple, reachable, aligned. This is mindset training. That is how you rewire, which leads you to manifest. So this week, I want you to practice the 3 things that we talked about: awareness, calm, and intention. And when the old pattern starts to show up, I don't want you to judge it. Just catch it, regulate your energy, and then step into the smallest version of your desire to train your mindset to align with your highest desire. It comes in one moment, in one breath, and one soft thought at a time. Not, once again, not with perfection, but just with willingness. Because your brain wants to learn this. Because it was built to change. If our brain didn't want to change, it wouldn't have the mechanisms to do so. I want you to message me on Instagram and tell me what desire you're training your mindset towards this week, because I will cheer you on as you build it. I will be there for you to help keep you going. So let me know. I can't wait to support you, and I will chat with you next week.